To get started with YoScenario, the first thing you need to do is to create a scenario. You can either use AI to generate the structure for you, or you can create your own. I'm going to create my own. We'll give it a title. And then we can choose a template, or we can start with a blank scenario. I'm going to choose a template, splodge, and create the scenario. So this has taken us to the steps overview. Now in YoScenario, a scenario consists of steps and choices which take you to those steps. These are the steps here with all the content in, and the arrows indicate choices from those steps. So what we can do here is we can move these around as we want, and you can see this template has a few steps and choices already in place. Now there are a number of ways to build a branching scenario, but what I'm going to do is show you how you can build the structure of a scenario out from the steps overview here. So let's say we want to add a new choice to this second step here. We simply hover over the step, go to the Manage Choices button, press that, and we can go Add Choice. This will give us the target line, and this will tell us where that choice should go. So we can either choose an existing step by clicking on that, or we can choose a new step by clicking the background. So we'll give it a title. And then we can choose the target step. It can either be a new blank step, a new step from a template via the template manager, or it can be an existing step or a copy of an existing step. I'm going to choose this and make it a copy of that step. Now if I press the Add Choice button, you'll see it's created my new choice and my new step. So what we would do from that point on is we'd carry on building out the structure as we needed. Worth pointing out that you can also change where choices go using the Manage Choices button, and keep doing that until you have the structure in place that you want. Obviously you can change the structure at any point in time. It's nothing set, it all depends on how your workflow works. So then we need to start editing the content. So I'll go into that new step I've created with the new choice by hovering over the step and going to the Edit Step button. This takes us to the content editor. The content of a step is made up of different components. You can see this menu down the left hand side here. There's lots of different component types we can add to this step. We can also hover over the components we have in our step at the moment and select them if we want to. So let's select this text here and change the title. If I click on it, it will select that component, and you'll see all of the options we have for that component down the left hand side. If I want to edit the text, I can simply double click it. Let's drag that across. And the same is true of different component types in terms of editing them. We just have to click them to select them, and we can, for example, change the color of this as we want to. If we want to move things around, we just click and drag. You can also drag to select components, or if you drag to select multiple components, you can group them together into a block, and that allows you to manipulate them as a group. You'll see there are all sorts of options down here of things we can do to components. We can give them animations, motion paths, we can change all of the styling we want to. We can also assign actions. Now actions are an important part of YoScenario, which I'm not going to cover in detail in this video, but it allows you to give components triggers. So when an event happens, you can perform a certain action. For example, when a component is clicked, you can add to the score or show a different component or go to a step. The other thing worth noting in the content editor is the toolbar at the bottom. This is where you can add choices to your choices component. You see there are no choices on this step, so at the moment there's a choices component there which we can move around, but it has no choices in it. So we could add a choice if we wanted to here with the same form that we saw from the steps overview. Zooming in and out, that's pretty self-explanatory. Hidden components here. So if I was to hide something, let's hide this image. So select it, hide it, and deselect it, it will disappear. So this will allow you to reselect any hidden components you have on your step. The next one along is another one you're going to use a lot, and that is select component. If you have a lot of components on your step and some are behind other components or you can't quite see them, this is a quick way to be able to select any component you have on that step. The step settings allow you to set animations or hide the global components. We also have background options at the component DOM order in the actual markup. Step actions, again, this allows you to assign actions to a step. The template manager, so if you want to, let's say you create a step and you think it could be reused throughout your scenario, you can save it as a template here for reuse. And the preview from this step button, this is useful. So at any point in time, you can preview your scenario from the beginning by using the preview button on the top left, and that will take you to the preview mode, and you can go through the scenario as you would a player. Now, when you're editing content, it's much more useful to be able to do it from the step you're currently on, and that's what this button lets you do. So simply press it, and you can preview the scenario from the step you're currently on. Undo and redo, pretty self-explanatory, and then we have the editor options down the side. So you can choose to show the boundary, show the rulers, the grid, if you want the grid to be on top. Whether you want to enable snapping, you might have noticed when I was dragging things around, we're getting lines everywhere. So that's snapping to components and to the grid. We can turn that off if we want. If you want to show all of the component info in one go, you can. And if you want to show your global components, you can do that there as well. So global components are a pro feature that you can use, which is components that will be available throughout the scenario, and you can toggle them on and off there. So when you've gone through and you've edited all your content, I'll just go back to the steps overview there. The next thing we want to be able to do is to publish it so we can get people playing it. And the way to do that is you go to the publish button on the left-hand menu and you give it a name to create a new version. Press the publish scenario button, and it will create a link for you that you can share, or you can visit it via this link. If you've got a pro account, you can export it to an HTML package, a SCORM package, an XAPI, or you can grab some embed code there. So that gives you an idea of the core concepts of your scenario and how you can get started. There's obviously a lot more functionality available, which we've not touched on, from inventories, the styling editor, the user data, and of course all the different content components such as quizzes, forms, chats, 360 images, hotspots, all these different activities, which we'll talk about in more detail in other videos. But hopefully that's enough to get you started. If you have any questions, just get in touch. Thanks.